Hello, friends. So, really quick here, we're going to talk about what was the number one run. This is a 2350 without the Doctor Matter tech. That's an important thing that we're going to talk about. I've already made a short video on it. You're not going to see it in this one, but it's just a whole new thing that is kind of invalidating how good this run was. There's definitely some time saves that we can see in this run, but again, with the new tech that came into the arena the same day as this raid, it kind of makes it so this raid was impossible to ever be the best run, um, with how much time is saved from the Dr. Matter tech. But anyways, I do just want to have some brief discussions with this raid and why it was the best run and how they were able to chop off a minute from their previous best run. So not a whole ton of things to say here as far as the start goes. I do just plan to keep from the rogue perspective this entire time. I think that the UI is pretty clean and we get kind of some interesting perspectives at different points. So if you like this sort of content, please let me know in the comments. Give me a like. I don't want to totally be that shill and shell out to that kind of stuff, but I don't know what you want me to talk about, right? Like, I'm happy to talk about different topics, and if there's something that you like, let me know. And yeah, we talked about this previously, the idea of the Paladin pulling to start here and then the SEAL Team 6 that is doing the Giga pull on the side and how they're able to set up into those pulls quickly. It seems kind of weird here where it like starts running back and does kind of like some weird movement, so that was a little strange. But the main takeaway here is how dangerous this area is. I think we're going to have to watch both of Eternal's runs next to talk about the difference and how little damage goes out compared to how much damage goes out. But that's my main point to highlight here is the proper damage allocation that these guys have. None of them are hitting the Guardian first on accident. Look how fast this Brainwasher dies. No one's trying to be a total Zug and get that extra one hit on something that's coming in slightly early. They kill all these mobs at the same time, and they don't even get a knockback because they kill them so quickly. Okay, so kill these packs quickly, and now the idea is going around the corner here and quickly setting up for this pull. But this is where it gets weird. This mob here had just a little bit of health left, it looks like, as the next pack got pulled and they did their charge even though the mob was already dead. So that's what caused a whole bunch of damage to go out, and this raid just isn't really capable of dealing with that much damage while half of the priest are involved in the other side of the Sartura pull over there. So definitely really scary here. They did a really good job pulling this out. And again, this is partly why you are killing Kree first, is just the amount of damage that going out here is no joke. I think that there needs to be more elixir of poison resistance in this area when the raid is most stressed. This is like the most dangerous part of the raid in some ways. There's, of course, the pulls after Twin Emps that are super dangerous, but like early on, making sure that this goes smoothly, I think is really important. And seeing so many people have poisons for so long is something that stands out to me. As well, I think that lipping one of the fears is important. Doesn't seem like, I mean, I guess you need it for Sartura, but I think potentially there's, I don't know, more. Kind of depends, right? Does the lip get used here? Yeah, it does. So, something to think about. This was a pretty good Sartura kill as far as, let's just see the walk in. They're all really nicely stacked. I feel like Sunders were really slow. Like, if you look at Sartura here, one Sunder 10% in. Now it gets IEA. And then the cheap shot is applied after cheap shot full kidney. So Rogue really did their job well there. Then the stun happens, but they all survive. So really good Sartura overall. I think that's like the best one that I've seen from Five Sunders Please in general, as far as like the stacking and good stuns, that kind of stuff. As well here, I feel like they had pretty good pulling as far as while this boss is still going, they're just always having a steady trickle of mobs of these first scorpions coming in at the same time now as these second ones. I'm not sure like this lip here, or this bop I should say, maybe it saves him, but it's poison damage that you take, so in some ways that bop might not be a savior sort of play. But anyways, they are all moving forward, and you're going to see now the Petri pull that happens from the rogue. So they get out of stealth, get seen here. I think that there's potential here to move a little bit farther forward. This to me is strange as far as like I guess the timing is, right? So like once as soon as that shatter happens, now you start going. But I think there's more potential to maximize use of sprint here, where by the time this pull starts, that was just unfortunate in general. Kind of a scuffed pull. But I think ideally you'd like start here, right? And then that dummy goes down, helps gets them, but just takes a lot of damage early. And I think needs to use evasion at some point. So I don't want to focus too much on individual gameplay here, but clearly they know how to do this pull better. And this Giga pull was an area that is definitely potential time save. They got really lucky here as far as all these packs coming together right at the last second like this. So it ends up being really good compared to how it looks, right? Like where these packs are super far away, just a couple seconds before they all get here. And then in the end, it ended up being a pretty good pull, I think. So just one pack, two packs that they have to kill, excuse me. Clean here. All of these mobs were pretty clean. I think there was like one weird moment here though. So on this final one, I don't really get what happens here. It looks like someone dropped the raid because they had plague. But like at this point, I would want to make sure that they're back in the raid. Um, it just feels slow here. This part feels slow. I don't know in the background what's going on, but this is a 1 Mississippi, a 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, a 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi. Okay, it's not a speed run, right? Like if you're able to do that, you're able to do all sorts of stuff. So that much downtime has me questioning. Something went wrong, I would think. Anyways, not a ton to mention on Twin Emps. We'll watch the Twin Emps trash here. As far as a pretty crazy pull, I think, right? Pretty soon after they kill this first pack, next one comes in, and then a third one comes in basically on top of it. Rogue thinks about trying to distract, but they're just not too far enough forward, and these packs are really tough to deal with as far as distracts and stuff. Like, it's kind of just is what it is. So, pretty impressive here as far as just like the amount of things that are stacked and people not dying from cleave. So, they hold it together. They eliminate a bunch of the slayers really quickly. The Mind Slayer is in the back and controlled, and they move forward. So I'm just trying to keep these a little bit briefer. Again, if you want me to go in more depth in some of these runs, I'd be happy to, but at this point I feel like we've done maybe like 10 AQ40s of pretty similar talking points. So just a couple of things that stand out to me is as far as this pack here is a crazy pull. All right, this is basically at the start of dealing with these nullifiers, you're having a whole bunch of other mobs come in, which for a large number of groups is a wipe scenario. So they did a really good job properly focusing the nullifiers and not getting owned by the slayers, even though there was multiple of those spinning. And yeah, just generally a pretty crazy pull right there that they were able to pull off. So kind of the same thing here where Warder could be really dangerous, but they get kind of lucky where it doesn't really do any abilities, and they're just straight cleaving and moving forward. I think that their hunter throughout this whole area here is just doing an insanely good job of feeding the pulls to the raid and setting the tempo exactly how it needs to be. So in general, super impressed with the hunter gameplay from this raid. So again, this is a crazy pull. Half this pack is still alive, a champion still full health that could fear and be problematic, but they just go ahead and pull the two nullifiers, pump them down, and you see they don't have a ton of mana left on them. Um, Nullifiers could have been alive for a lot longer. Obviously, you don't want them to be, but um, yeah, crazy pull here. Again, like, nutso. These nullifiers just don't have much mana, though. I think partially what's happening is there's just not that many people that can give them mana. Like, everyone's completely I think they suck mana, right? So there's just not much to suck. New tech, just be completely on those nullifier packs and can grab them all. Anyways, this is what has changed. You're not going to see Oro really pulled like this in speedruns anymore. Look how far they have to run into this room to get to Oro. The Dr. Matter tech just totally changes the game. So anyways, we'll just speed forward now into Cthulhu. Let's see the downtime. Does the tank have a shield? Nope, tank does not have a shield, but they run right in. And he survives the beams. And now they set up. So they do have one guy get beamed here, 3 on a stack. And I saw it was 22 overkill. He had like 10k health, 9k health. So it is kind of crazy to me. Like, if you have 3 stacked, I feel like you have to pop a nature pot going into this area. But people want to save it for Mighty Rage. So kind of an interesting thing to me as far as like, it just feels a little bit like your death is secure and for sure in some ways with that strat, but you want to have so many people stacked together so that you're able to quickly push the boss through its first phase. So anyways, not going to really look too much into the logs here. Just something to mention as far as the new strat here, as far as healers are not dying to the dark lair anymore, they're just logging out. And then once the third phase happens, they all log back in. So clear meta shift with that as well. Anyways, I think that's about it. So till the next one, guys, thanks for tuning in, and GG's.